Hey, how you doing? Listen, a few days ago I woke up inside a dumpster, crawled inside my house, tucked my shirt in, debated my life choices, crawled outside, and called my friends to go see Shang-Chi.
One word. Are you guys excited for Shang-Chi?
No.
Well, you know, Marvel's let me down a lot of times. I've had a lot of hot takes and got a lot of death threats over things, but I'm excited to see it. No, I'm not. We were not excited. I loved a lot of Falcon and Winter Soldier, but that's really the last MCU thing that got me going. You know what I'm saying? Didn't watch Loki, watched Black Widow instead, which, broke me. Sick. Got to the theater, got me a popcorn, sat down, watched the film, and, yeah, man. In addition to all my addictions, my doubts, and my depression, I think I, might just have a Marvel problem. But first, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Blinkist. Are you one of those clowns who desperately tries to damn read, but just can't find the damn time? Same. Blinkist is the only app that condenses nonfiction books so you can get the insights and knowledge you need to apply those lessons right away. They got a plethora of different topics: self-improvement, development, marriage, how to get over the crippling darkness that plagues my soul, and so much more. With Blinkist, I've been able to read, to listen, to experience the science of storytelling and how to be alone, and it only took me 30 minutes. And with their new feature, Shortcasts, I get to listen to condensed versions of popular podcasts. Just like reading, sometimes you just don't got the time to listen to a 4-hour podcast. But with Shortcasts, I can keep up to speed with my favorite podcast episodes while getting things done instead of sitting alone contemplating how the hell I ended up here. Right now, the first 100 people click on my link in the description will get unlimited access for 1 week so you can try it out. You'll also get 25% off if you want the full membership. And that sexy 7-day trial is completely free, so you can cancel at any time during that period. You've got nothing to lose and lots to gain, so head on over to Blinkist right now using my link to try it out today. Thanks, guys. Now hear me out here. I hate being the contrarian, the asshole, the clown, the sucker, the fucker. I want to love every single piece of media you shove down my throat. But sometimes, man, we just don't get what we want. And let me just say right off the bat that it's not about what some 22-year-old wannabe Kubrick, Raimi-loving thinks about Shang-Chi. What's really special about this film is the lovely probability that someone of Asian descent gets to see themselves as a dope as hell superhero that will inevitably fight alongside the fucking Avengers. That's marvelous, and that's more meaningful than anything I could ever say. But yeah, point is, I'm mostly jealous and always envious of those who adore something that I did not. So dear viewer, dear friend, why didn't I adore Shang-Chi? Well, it's not because I don't enjoy the art filmmaker Dresden Daniel Credin makes. Short Term 12, Just Mercy were both solid, grounded human stories that weren't afraid to be raw and had fantastic performances at the center. It's not because I don't enjoy the work of the 3 separate editors. We're talking Moonlight, Minari, John Wick, Fire on a Fucking Stick, and cinematographer Bill Pope. Billy Boy is a legend and one of the kings of shooting blockbuster genre movies. I mean, fuck. But here's the thing, you mix all these artists who, when united, like an all-talented, all-giving superhero team, should make, in theory, a goddamn visual martial arts masterpiece with a soul. And then you chuck them into the Marvel Studios sandbox. And that sandbox, that gazillion-dollar, securely built, ever-appealing castle that reaches past the zeitgeist and into the sky, that is my problem.
What do you mean? What the hell are you talking about, you pretentious?
What do you mean? What the hell are you talking about? Did you hate it? Nah, I did not. To be honest, for the greater part of the first act, me and my goons were vibing. We were chilling. The grounded nature of just hanging out with Sean, seeing him work a job to pay his bills, seeing him get drunk and just chill with his best friend. I love that shit. I love how down to earth it feels and how well that works in contrast to the grand 10 Rings history lesson that opens the movie. And that bus scene, man, that damn bus scene. Actual fight choreography and innovative action sequences that have more in common with a Crouching Tiger or a Rumble in the Bronx than with a Ragnarok or a Black Panther. Shang-Chi's backstory, the one he starts to tell on the plane, the one where he begins explaining his loving and compassionate relationship with his mother, explaining his complicated and abusive relationship with his father. It's emotional, more mature than I expected. It actually hits, it actually makes you feel something genuine. And then, almost as if the executive sitting in the Marvel office knew that I was feeling too much, empathizing too much, a flight attendant literally interrupts Shang's tale, interrupts the emotion, the gravitas, the sincerity, interrupts it for the sake of a joke about beef. And as that runtime went on, as the unmasked man in a Punisher shirt behind me started to fall asleep, started to snore, the Marvel bits, the beef jokes, the emotional undercutting started to creep their way in more and more, like a slow but steady and consistent IV drip of what we've come to expect. Every time there is a risk, a gamble, something new, whether that's witnessing a complex father-son relationship, sympathizing with a young woman's struggle to be seen, or experiencing a beautiful-looking, practically executed action scene, something safe, something predictable, expected, gets in the way and finds a way to make me feel numb. Expository dialogue that explains and re-explains takes away from the humanity, man. The moments of karaoke, the discussions of legacy and love are too often pushed to the back in service of progressing the plot. All of it leading, all of it building to a murky digital standard CG backdrop shot on a soundstage, gray smoke-ridden climax. So yeah, man, I'm mixed because I enjoyed myself most of the time, and I genuinely loved certain elements. Wong Kar-wai's boy, Hong Kong cinema legend Tony Leung could sleepwalk his way through a script and still be one of the most interesting and dynamic MCU villains. An abusive father reuniting with his estranged kids, a story about power versus love that is physically represented. A superhero movie that isn't afraid to go bonkers, to go mystical, to go mythical at points. But we still have jokes that write themselves, meaningful moments that are then made to feel meaningless, a lack of trust in sincerity, a lack of belief in maintaining that empathy. Appearances of certain Marvel characters from the past, certain Marvel characters that really overstay their welcome. So what do we got? A director with a focus on complicated human stories, an iconic cinematographer, charismatic leads, and well-choreographed action. Mix that in with the standard Marvel fare and you get something that feels kinda cool. That feels like a fun but fine time. But something that to me felt like it could be so much more. And that's what Marvel should be doing at this point if you ask me. Every fan and every fanboy is going to see whatever they churn out, even if it's a character as obscure as Shang-Chi. So why not make something completely fresh, something that never feels emotionally flat? Why not drop the boardroom tested, test screen vetted humor, the cynically, clinically precise amount of time you can go without a gag, a punchline, a reference, an Easter egg? Instead of making a Marvel origin story that wears the skin of a kung fu film, just make a kung fu film. Maybe I'm naive, man. Maybe to some of you this felt so fresh and so different. Maybe I'll see it again and I'll feel different. Maybe I wanted the narrative of this video to come full circle. My douchey film bro, hack friends, and I go in with no expectations, only to be blown the hell away, only to be emotionally charged and excited about the future of Phase 4. Excited about the cinematic risks Marvel should be taking now that they've been king of the cinematic hill for a long time. Maybe I expected too much, wanted too much. Wanted Shang-Chi to have an identity fully separate from Marvel. If you know me, you know that my favorite cape flicks tend to have a unique voice. And while I'm glad I heard the whisper of one, it was drowned out by the sandbox it's forced to speak in. And all I'm left with is my Marvel problem. But that's on me. Beef.